Welcome back to the Inspired Yogi. This week we're with Brownell Landrum. Brownell works with wishes, and I love this topic. Welcome, Brownell. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks. Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here.
You know, um, you sent me an email when we first started, and it said, I want to look real quick because it said something about, here it is. What if your listeners could change the world with something they already do every day? I mean,
Yep.
talk about grabbing my attention.
Yeah, and I know enough from your show to know changing the world is kind of what you want to do, right? You want to elevate consciousness and all of that stuff, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's kind of where my mission is heading with all of this too. So
Excellent.
it's a good vibe.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you are all about working with wishes or changing people's ideas around wishing, and I'm
Yeah,
intrigued.
yeah. I want first of all, I'll just kind of put a context that I am a storyteller, not a scientist. Okay,
Okay.
so if there are people listening, and same with you, like if you have another thing to add to it that adds science or adds a dimension to it, I'm all for expanding it, right?
Sure.
So I just came in this, but I'm going to start with a question. I'm going to say, imagine you're blowing out candles on a birthday cake,
Mm-hmm.
or you see a shooting star, okay? Or you're throwing a coin into a fountain.
Okay.
What do you wish for?
World peace.
Okay? World peace, not the world peace, WHIRLED. Have you seen those
No,
signs? Oh,
I
they're
haven't seen
making
that.
fun of world PEAS, the vegetable. So it's world peace.
World peace.
World peace. Do you want world peace or do you want world peace? Okay, so yeah, so then you make a wish. Did you realize when you just made your wish, you engaged over a dozen different sciences?
Tell me more.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So my history is I'm a storyteller, and I was writing a novel, my most recent novel, and this one I was writing from the point of view of the upstairs,
What do you
which
mean
was
the
pretty.
upstairs?
Well, however you want to, whatever vernacular you want to use, but I like upstairs because it kind of doesn't necessarily file into a particular religion. But
Okay.
basically, where Jody hangs out, right?
Oh, using my term,
Although Jody's
Jody.
everywhere,
Thank you
right?
so much.
I'm using your term. You want to explain in case somebody didn't hear your
Sure.
Jody show? Yeah,
God, yeah, God is spelled G-O-D, right?
yeah.
G-O-D. G-O-D. Yeah,
Jody, yeah, I
Jody.
love that because it's kind of the same kind of spin, right? It's like
Yeah,
we've got a definition here. Let's just expand it. I'm just calling it the upstairs,
I
right?
love that. Yeah.
As opposed to the downstairs. Not the basement, but
Right.
hopefully the upstairs.
Up in the attic.
So I'm writing it from the point of view of however you want to define that. And in this world, it was kind of like these. It's kind of a magical realism thing that became kind of real for me, and kind of guided my life, because I'm writing them and all of a sudden they're telling me who they are, which is a whole nother story. But I I got into part four of that story, and I started kind of imagining, inventing a world where wishes are kind of gathered and sorted and granted, like this whole system that might happen up there when a wish
Mm.
is made. And I had so much fun writing that. And then as I'm writing, as any writer has to do, you have to create the world, right? You have to invent the world, and you have to put parameters like what is a wish and how are wishes answered and all these kinds of things. And so I was, working on that and writing that. And then, weird thing I do on the side, I was listening to a lecture on neuroplasticity one
Okay.
night,
Love that.
just to get to sleep. I listen to science lectures. And all of a sudden, I realized, like, is there science in wishing?
Mm.
And that led me to, like, I call it like a game of cosmic whack-a-mole, like, yes, anthropology, sociology, psychology, quantum physics, like all of these sciences just popped
Hmm.
up, all biology, I mean, all these things. And so that led me to go to this crazy exploration and led to my latest book called The Art and Science of Wishing. And that's where it's like, wow, all of a sudden, all this stuff that came through, it was I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but that's kind of the framework. So it's pretty cool. And I could tell from, your other, just what I've learned about you so far is that that might be a pretty cool jam for you as far as looking at the science and the metaphysics, right? The physics
Yes,
and
definitely.
metaphysics.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what brought you into thinking about wishing in that way? Just writing, you wanting to write about it?
Yeah, well, I this particular novel is semi-autobiographical, as I was kind of alluding to,
Okay.
and I was making a wish of my own, and all of a sudden I was kind of thinking about a different version of the wish, and then I'm thinking, what would happen? I mean, imagine a world where people stopped wishing,
Hmm. So
you
you have
know?
like no desires or no.
Yeah, I mean, like, because wishing, one of the things that was cool about the research is wishing rituals have been a driver of success for humanity, like
Yeah.
since the beginning of time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like, this is important, and I think we've lost some of that angle. I think that's one of the things that we're dealing with in the world today is we're at this like darker level a lot of the time, and we need to rise up. And
Mm-hmm.
if we can unite, you want world peace. I mean, we all say that, and I'm just trying to think, well, what do I know within my power that might be able to actually get that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And if we all wished it and we use
Mm-hmm.
this power of wishing and then the science aspect of wishing, you know, it could maybe be a factor, right?
Yeah.
Because when you start looking at the science, the way your brain works, your way your body works, the way all of those is conscious, subconscious, superconscious, all of those elements can kind of drive that.
All right. Well,
So
tell me more about the science because I'm really intrigued by this. Because
yeah,
we
yeah.
make wishes, right? Like you said, all of us have blown out birthday candles and made a wish, or like you said, we see a shooting star. These different things, and we kind of let it go. And I have a question about that as well later, but I'll bring it up later. But I want to hear more about the science. I mean, where does it go from there when you send that wish out to the universe?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I talk about in the book is, and again, I want this to be us talking, right? I want to know what you
Yeah.
think. So interject anytime you want.
Okay.
Um, is I talk about taking a wish, like you're saying, oh, I wish, and then it poof, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you turn a wish into what I call a cosmic wish? Okay.
Okay.
And the definition of cosmic, if you look in Merriam-Webster, it's got, they definitions have like three parts to the definition.
Yeah.
And the first part, it means uh, universal, like
Mm-hmm.
of the universe. The second part of definition of cosmic means spiritual or metaphysical. So it
Okay.
gets into that realm. And then the third part is comprehensive.
Hmm.
And so the way you can turn a wish into a cosmic wish is by applying the science.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
when you start realizing, for example, like one of the simplest things is neuroplasticity, since I mentioned that,
Mm-hmm.
it's when you repeat it on a daily basis, even if it's just for less than a minute, then that's training your brain to the reticular activating system, which I'm sure you know about, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
your brain is like, I'm finding that solution. So if
Yeah.
every day you're wishing for world peace and you've got not just you, but your listeners and then their people and whoever wants to join what I'm calling these wish circles, get together and every day, whatever your ritual is, it could be a certain time of day, or it could be while you're brushing your teeth, or whatever kind of trigger that you would think. And then you would start having all these people starting to collectively wish. And they're going, and then the more you repeat it, if you repeat it every day for 8 weeks, for example, with the neuroplasticity, then your brain is programmed to do that. It can't not do that. It's going to look for solutions. And
Mm.
it could
Okay.
be like I was talking to somebody who wants to start a wish circle yesterday, and he wants to bring his son into helping and bring
Okay.
kids into this process,
Oh, I love
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so could you imagine, like, if you want to just talk about world peace, um, what if 10, what if 100, what if 1,000, what if 10,000 kids all wrote a letter to Putin saying, please give us peace in Ukraine or, allow peace in Ukraine?
Hmm.
Who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
you know we
Yeah.
start multiplying that wish, and then you start having to understand all the other dimensions of a wish, like how are they, what are the four responses, what do they mean, employing what I call the three P's. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's a lot of little elements to making it to fine tuning your wish to get it so that you don't have subconscious sabotage, for example, or that your motivation is clear and your wants versus your needs are clear.
Hmm.
All of those kinds of cool stuff. So
Okay.
yeah,
So here's the question I had earlier, and it kind
yeah.
of negates what you're talking about in a way. Because then a lot of times we say, we wish for something, but then they say, "What's your wish?" And you say, "Oh, I can't tell you or it won't come true."
I get into that in the book.
Okay.
In fact, the book I cite 70 different scientists.
Wow. Great.
Yeah. So that's the best. By the way, yes, I used AI to help me research because I couldn't have done all that research on my own.
Sure.
And as I said, I'm not a scientist, but I think in a way it's kind of good because I can look at lots of different points of view. I'm not just looking at one particular scientific discipline,
Yeah.
because there are dozens, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's anthropology, sociology, psychology, biology, I mean, psychophysics, quantum physics, like all the really, there's fringe stuff, parapsychology, all these kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um, so, so yeah, so when you kind of pull all that together, but there is a chapter on when and who do you tell your wish to?
Yeah, because if you're
What
doing a
kind?
wish circle, I imagine you're sharing the wish with multiple people.
Yes, that's when you're saying, okay, this now when you're talking about something like world peace, and maybe you start with peace in Ukraine. I'm just picking something, but
Sure.
maybe you start with one thing and then it's an 8-week process. So for the next 8 weeks, we're all going to be wishing for that. Now,
Okay.
each individual in the wish circle might have her own personal wish.
Hmm.
They may have peace in the household, you
Yeah.
know, right? Or peace at
Sure.
work or whatever.
Hmm.
But they can layer that on. But the general wish, yeah, would be something you would share. And that's when you would elevate that energy together, saying, we're all joining this wish circle. Like I want, you could have world peace, someone that can have, I wish everyone in this wish circle would embrace and appreciate their bodies.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And
Yeah.
that's so for 8 weeks, what are you doing to appreciate and take care of your body?
Sure.
So that's personal, but also collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that the idea of not telling somebody your wish is more like a superstitious kind of thing.
Well, first of all, there's yay sayers and naysayers,
Hmm.
right? So
Yep.
you definitely don't, what's the point of telling the naysayers? Like
Sure.
we might have an instinct to go, I'm doing this, even though we know that person isn't necessarily going to be supportive. Like we're looking for validation, and that's not going to help your mental health, right?
Right.
But and also if you tell too soon, then it does two things on a brain level. And again, I'm just kind of repeating what I learned from scientists as opposed to my own studies. But
Hmm.
um, sometimes it'll be like, well, I've already done this, and other people know you haven't, so they're going to send a kind of a counter energy to it. Like you say, oh, I'm a millionaire. Well, if other people are like, no, you're not, you got to work that, right? You got
Hmm.
to work the
Yeah.
energy. The more in some cases, you need to make a little progress toward manifesting the wish. And then that's when you're kind of, okay, now I feel more comfortable telling people. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna, play for the NBA. I don't think I'm gonna play for the NBA. Don't think that's in the plan. And if I told people,
Yeah.
that would be kind of crazy.
Yes, it would.
And there's also a chapter on, the problems and pitfalls, like when people think, the toxic positivity kind of angle to it, and the people who think, oh, all you have to do is wish and it's going to happen. Well, maybe, but that's not the process. That's not the way to build the certainty and the control. Because
Yeah.
I talk about at the beginning, what's the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal,
Okay.
right?
Tell me more. What is the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal?
Well, a goal is something in your control,
Okay.
right? You can say, I'm going to, get this degree, or I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or whatever that is.
Hmm.
And a prayer is usually something out of your control. Like
Okay.
you're releasing it to whatever, um,
Higher
uh,
power upstairs.
yeah, Jody or whatever. And then but a wish is somewhere kind of in between. It kind of is both personal and transpersonal. But when you start applying the science, you start realizing that you can get more control by applying the science. It's not
Okay.
just me and my higher power saying I want to have this, outcome or this manifestation. It's
Hmm.
me working within the science of my body and my mind and my even the spirit science and all of that kind of element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you said like you gave that example of like, oh, I'm a millionaire, you know,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza. I listened to him quite a
Yeah.
lot
I quote
recently.
him in the book. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Well, he says, in order to manifest something, you have to visualize or believe or become that. So if you want to be a millionaire, you would be like, yeah, I'm living life like a millionaire while the millions are manifesting. So it's kind of like doing that, saying I am a millionaire. So
Yeah,
that's
I think there's a nuance to it that you kind of have to layer in there because there's some weird research in terms of some of the people who said, "Oh, I can just be this and I'm going to be this." They
Mhm.
actually there's a higher foreclosure rate on homes. I mean, there's some really things that thought, "Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to live my life as though I have these things," and then they're spending money in the ways they couldn't afford, and they're
Yeah.
making decisions that are not healthy because they're not backing it up with fact. However, I do believe that you need to embody it in the way that it's like, okay, I'm going to embody this person that does this thing, and I'm going to become so comfortable with it that I don't push it away when it does happen. If-
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I often
What do
think
you think?
too, well, yeah, I often think that, whether it's, I'm going to become a millionaire or I'm going to do this or do that, you might have that thought and you're trying to embrace it, but subconsciously there's a million other little thoughts that may be preventing it, and you could think like if you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to be healthy, but you're constantly afraid of germs, those fear of germs are going to override your will or your wish to be healthy. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally. In fact, there's a whole chapter on that in the book.
Okay.
In fact, my first book is called Five Reasons Why Bad Things Happen.
Mm-hmm.
So people say everything happens for a reason. I was like, yeah, I wrote the book on it. um, and one of the reasons why is subconscious sabotage, which is exactly what
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about. And when I wrote that book and I realized that the body is the subconscious, that was kind of a huge opening for me.
Yeah.
And in the book, I get into the three selves because if you're making your wish, you want to make sure all three of your selves are aligned on that wish.
Explain what you're calling the three selves, please.
Well, you can call it, id, ego, super ego, conscious,
Okay.
subconscious, superconscious, or mind, body, spirit.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same three, triad, if you will.
Yeah.
And there'll be some people listening that are going, that's not how it works in science. I'm like, if they want a different point of view, that's fine. This is how I coalesced to
Mm-hmm.
what I found, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so a big part of it, in fact, I have a really fun, the whole thing that I'm doing is making sure it's fun because science make more fun is also aligned with science. If we make it fun, our bodies will want to make things going.
Yeah.
One of my favorite analogies is like imagine you're seeing your dog, your neighbor walk their dog, and the dog runs off. What
Mm-hmm.
happens usually?
There you go. Chase it.
They either chase it or yell at it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
But instead, what they should do is go, "Come on, it's fun over here," and the dog's going to go, "Okay, I'll go over there," right?
I agree. Or
And
or provide some food for it because dogs
our
love
body
food.
is the same way,
Yeah.
right? We want to yell at our body or force our body or make our body do something. And when our body doesn't want to do it, it's going to fight back,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
when we align and go, it's fun over here and let's make it fun and I'm with you and we can align. So there's a whole activity in my whole program that I'm launching to hopefully get world peace and all those good things is what there's a kind of a one program that's like for this week, pay total attention to your body. Make sure you pay attention to every single bite you eat.
Mm.
Ask him or her or them, what do you want to do at this moment of day? Like really, really get in tune with your body in that way, like a friend, like a separate kind of person.
Yeah.
So that's exactly, I mean, I'm glad you asked that because that's so important. Then when your body is aligned with the wish,
Hmm.
right? Then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you've covered that kind of potential block.
Yeah, yeah, because there's so much science coming out now on the gut brain connection.
Yeah, the microbiomes. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like, for something to happen, the brain's just secondary to the gut, people are saying.
Yeah. Well, because there's brain cells in your gut.
Yes, is that
I mean,
weird?
yeah, I know. It's very cool stuff though. I mean, that's the thing that's fun about science is that it just keeps expanding and expanding. So it's never sure about the answer because there's more and more.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably know Max Planck, and I loved his quote about, there can be no opposition between religion and science. And he was the founder of quantum physics,
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the more we bring them together, the more answers we'll get.
Hmm. Yeah.
So now it's
I'm
for
just
you to
thinking
tell
about a
me all
lot of
your,
times we make wishes that we, don't, I mean, we kind of just throw it out there, like world peace. Okay, if I blow up my birthday candles and I say I wish for world peace, we kind of throw it out there and don't really do any work.
right.
So, but you're saying if we're going to make a wish, if we really desire and want something and we want to manifest that, we have to do some work.
Well, yeah, a minute a day.
Minute a day.
For 8 weeks.
Okay.
Um, and if you're doing it with like a wish circle, because I have this thing called the Cosmic Wish Experiment
Hmm.
that I don't know if you've looked into or not, but and that's when people would start wish circles, and then they would have groups of people that would be making the same wish. And so then you'd have a ritual for your wish circle. And in that regard, there's everything's free, by the way.
Okay.
Complete. I mean, the book
Excellent.
is optional. You can buy that, and that's fine, and I'd love it, but I
Hmm.
don't. You don't need to
Okay.
because everything else is free. And there's a playbook you can download, and it has activities. And there's a 15-minute activity every week.
All right.
So to do that whole program is 1 minute a day, and maybe 2 minutes depending. And then 15 minutes a week. So and somebody's like, I don't know if I have time for that. And I said, well, then you're not right for the program. I mean, like if you really want it, the eight
You'll
weeks are
make
important
time.
based on
Yeah.
science. Like there's no answer that I'm going to give you because I feel like that. It's because the science is guiding to making sure that you do these. So one of the weeks is about the three selves, right? And a little
Okay.
bit of an instruction about that.
Hmm.
One of the weeks is about motivation and making sure, your wants versus your needs, right? Which is a whole dynamic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, the $1 million is a good example. Is like that's what you want, but what do you need?
Hmm.
Right. And I like to use, I'm a storyteller, so I like to use like movies and Star Wars, right? And Luke wanted to have an adventure with his friends,
Yeah.
but what he needed was to find his purpose.
Don't we all?
Right. Right. But that's the difference between like making sure your wish is aligned with a need more than a
Yeah.
want,
Right.
right?
Yes.
To
Yeah,
elevate that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
This is
it's fun stuff.
yeah, it is all fun stuff and it's coming clear. I like
Yeah.
it. So do you differentiate any difference between a wish and manifesting?
I It depends on people's definition of manifesting. Like
Okay.
James Doty, I don't know if you know his book, but and I quote him in the book, and he has a whole book on manifestation using brain science, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it aligns more. Although his doesn't talk about the neuroplasticity of 8 weeks, that kind of thing. At least in
Hmm.
terms of my exposure to him hasn't. Um, so but the idea of just like wishing or say I'm going to have this thing is um it's just it's leaving too much up to chance. I mean, I do have this thing you probably really like, this concept that I call the blue balloon phenomena. And you're like, what the hell is she talking?
Right. Tell me more.
Well, imagine that you kind of get this vision. You're driving home from work and you get this vision of a blue balloon in your driveway.
Okay.
Okay. And you drive home and there's a blue balloon
All right.
in your driveway.
And you're going, what the heck?
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
question is, some people would say, oh, I manifested that blue balloon.
Hmm. Not just you're intuitive and you saw it there.
Well, that's exactly right. Look at it from all the different points of view. You might have not noticed it before because we get the billions of messages for our subconscious that our conscious only gets 0.001% or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or it could be that you were given a message that there was going to be a blue balloon to look out for the blue balloon,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right?
Yeah,
That's different from manifesting,
it is. Yes.
right? So there's so many, and then when I got into, because I've always thought that was a cool phenomenon, it's something I just kind of came up with um, to look at it from different perspectives. Because like I
Hmm.
manifested that, and like great, or it was part of your destiny, and therefore that's part of the plan, and that's why it was given there because that's like trying to guide you, like the synchronicities and the guides, whether you want to call it physics or religion or spirituality, you needed that blue balloon because that was going to give you a message that yes, you should be doing something or guiding you somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of
Yeah.
ways to look at that blue
Oh,
balloon.
give me one second. Someone's ringing my doorbell,
No problem.
which triggered my dog. Give me 1 second to
Well, just make it fun for the dog.
she always has fun. Sorry about that. It's funny because you talk about intuition. I had a thought before I started this podcast that I should put a sign on my door that said "Recording in progress, do not disturb." And I didn't follow my intuition. So there
That's
you go.
right. That's right. You were given a message to do that. And it's
Yes.
all okay anyway.
Yeah. You mentioned some of this information came to you through guides earlier.
Yeah.
Did I hear you right? Can you tell me more about these guides and how that works?
It was pretty wild. I decided to I was finishing up a trilogy of novels and I was doing the editing on it. And a friend of mine was coaching me on like all the marketing and all this stuff. And she said, you need to write a separate story that you can offer to people. So I was like, oh, so while I'm doing the editing on those novels, she's like writing stories. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write a story. And then I thought, well, I'm going to write it from the point of view of the upstairs.
Okay.
And as I'm writing it, I realized they're telling me who they are.
Hmm. Do you want to share who they are?
Yeah, well, I call them X, Y, and the Z's. Just, and I'm like, and they actually have a little, and I mean, where reality and imagination go separate, I can't really tell you. Like
Hmm.
there's a whole fuzzy area as far as what I'm being told to write and what I'm being guided to write and what is actually true. I mean, who could prove, right? I think you talk about that
Yeah.
as well, right?
Hmm.
But I started realizing that they were there, and at this particular story, and that's what I write about in this book called A Love Story to the Universe, is at the time I was in Tunisia and I'd been living in Aspen, Colorado for a number of years. And then my landlord raised the rent 50%. So I got to go somewhere else. So I went to Italy for 3 months. And because of visas, I had to go somewhere else. So I was like living this nomadic life, not sure where I was going to be or what I was going to do. And all of a sudden, these messages from this X, Y, and the Z's are what I call traffic angels. And so that it's like if you're here and someone else is here and they want you to meet, the logistics, they have to handle the logistics of getting you connected to
Okay.
that person, right?
Yeah.
So they're the
Yes.
kind of the traffic angels, like, okay, we got to move, and in this case, I had met someone in Tunisia, and it was just like, how does an American woman in Colorado meet a British man in Tunisia? Like the logistics that they had to put in place to make that happen.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, they're a funny group. I mean, they're not like all knowing and all, like they screw up too, and they're doing their best, and they're having to deal with humans that are making mistakes.
Yeah.
Um, and yet it was a big lesson for me in learning to be, guided as opposed to feeling like I was so in control of my life,
Hmm.
letting them lead me to where I'm going. And now here I am, and I have a concept that I came up with not that long ago called reverse optimism, which is when you can look back and see, oh, that's why that happened and that happened and that happened and that happened. Like while you're going through, like, I don't know why I'm being going there and there this and why this didn't happen. And I thought this
Hmm.
was my manifestation and it went down this way. Um,
Yes.
but then you look back and go, oh, okay, something else was going on.
Yeah, I've always said, everything happens for a reason and all works for our higher good. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it. But then, like you said, it's kind of like you go back and you're like, oh, you connect all the dots and say, well, it wasn't what I wanted, like step by step to work out, but everything happened for the reason. Now everything's better than it would have been.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that, like
Oh,
in,
many times.
yeah,
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I try now to just kind of go with the flow more because it seems like, well, it's like that saying, that every time we plan, God laughs.
you're right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's it. And that's where you have to, this nuance, it's kind of the blue balloon in a way, because this nuance between what do I want and what do they want for me,
hmm yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we can be really stubborn in what we want, just kind of like the dog example too. Oh no, run after that because that's what's going. And it's like, wait a minute, maybe there's another gentler path.
Yeah.
If we can kind of go with the flow better.
hmm
And realize sometimes we may be guided down a path that is a dead end, but there was something that we learned on that way as
hmm
well, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. We never know what the lesson is until we get there sometimes.
sometimes, and sometimes
Yeah.
they're like, "What are y'all doing?" So yeah, so that's how it all kind of came to be. And I just been through an experience a few months earlier where I did it legally, don't do it not legally, but I did Bufo.
What is Bufo?
It's a DMT.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And it's completely medically supervised, legal in Barcelona. Like everything is above board. So I wouldn't ever do it unless it's legal. Like never, ever, ever, ever do it. If you're going
Uh-huh.
to do it medically supervised. But what that does is it opens up the neurotransmitters in your brain.
hmm
So possibilities that you never considered before are now available. Now
Yeah.
we can produce DMT ourselves in our own bodies through meditation, right? Which is
Right. Yeah.
I did the shortcut. Um, but I think that happened just a little bit before, like a couple of months before this, that I'm writing this story and I had this experience.
hmm
And so it's like, okay, opening up to possibilities. How much do you just let yourself be guided and look for the signs? And how much do you try to, I'm manifesting this thing because I want it so bad, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's, because that's when I get the book about the four responses, yes, no, wait, or something better. Yes isn't always the best answer,
hmm That's true.
right? We
Yes.
can get something like okay, we really wanted that thing, but is that really,
What's best
really
for
what
you?
we wanted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then no, it might just be more information to get us on the right path.
Yes. Yeah. Or a different one. Yes.
Or a different, that's what I mean, on the right path. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It could take us in a whole different direction.
hmm
We all know that, that thank God or Jody for unanswered prayers.
Yeah. So if somebody decides, hey, I want to join this wish circle because it sounds so cool and collaborating with other people to manifest this wish or desire. Um, who leads it? I mean, how do you connect with other people that have the same desire or wish?
Yeah, it depends on where, what somebody's circle is, right? In terms of who they reach. I mean, um, it could be just a group of friends that meet
hmm
locally, right? It
Okay.
could be somebody who has, a podcast and you would talk about it on your podcast, and you might just do it like you did the other day when you just did you talking. You could do it, you know, every so often, just say, here's the wish. How is everybody doing? Comment and let me know where you are. Um, to get started, there's the website's called the Cosmic Wish Experiment. Uh, I'm calling it experiment for a reason,
hmm
because we're learning and we're going to evolve and it's going to get better. And I want input. And, so it's not like, got to do it. Yeah, I am pretty stickler on the 8 weeks and, those kinds of things, because that's the science. I want to see the science really go to work, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But in terms of a lot of aspects of it, I'm totally open to input and evolution. But you just go there and you sign up to be a wish circle leader, and then you get
Okay.
the links to here's how you sign everybody up. You make up your name for your wish circle, world peas or world peas. Um, and then people would join that. Generally you'd probably want to give them a little advance notice, like we're going to start this date, and then they can sign up for that date. And then they get and then there's a place where they sign up to join your wish circle. And when you get them give them the name, like this is my wish circle name, and then they get a link to all the cool resources. There's a tracker, there's gamification and points and prizes and cute stuff like that. And they get the playbook for free, training on how to do the little activities. I mean, they're designed to work with kids
Okay.
as well as adults, right? So, I mean, I simplified them and made them super fun for a reason, right? I mean, I might talk about reticular activating system and people might not know what that means, but you'll get enough of an example to go, okay, well, it's just the fact that we're going to always be looking for solutions when our brain is focused on something. So anyway, that's my way of hopefully elevating the world.
Okay, so if you go to the website and
Yeah.
then you have options to be a leader, or you can see what groups are out there, which groups are out there, and you
Yes,
can,
I mean, it literally just started a few days ago, so I'm just
okay.
starting. All right, this
Oh,
is
gotcha.
brand new. Yeah,
Brand
because
new.
like it was 2026 was going to be the launch, so we're barely in there, and I'm getting some people signing up already as far as Wish Circle leaders. And there's going to be a generic one, kind of I call it Indie All Stars. If somebody says this, because I say every wish needs to have the three P's. It needs to be peaceful, positive, and purposeful.
Okay.
So if somebody says they submits a wish, that I'm going to approve the wishes for the wish circles. And if it's not in that vein, I'm going to talk to them and try to get it in the right frame of mind, right?
Yes.
Because if somebody wants to do something that I don't think is appropriate for that kind of vibe, then I won't let, I mean, that's my power.
Yeah, that makes
you
sense.
know.
Yep.
But there's a generic all stars, so people just say, okay, I just want to wish for peaceful, positive, and purposeful every day for 8 weeks, and they can join that and kind of be self-guided. There won't be really much of a leader other than me trying to cheer people on, but or somebody can have a more specific one, like somebody's working with, and he's working with his son and going to bring his son in on, being more loving and supporting of animals. I'm not sure exactly what the wish is going to be, but it's going to be related to that. And then
Okay.
another one is going to be let's love and embody, and embrace our bodies and for the next 8 weeks. So there are going to be some, and some of them are private. You could have one and say, I only want, I don't want to open it up. I only want the people I invited to join that group, and that's fine too.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, sounds like a wonderful idea. I love this.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping, I'm wishing. It's just when people are there's so many people calling for the need for a movement right now, for a need for
Hmm.
something to elevate us right now. There's so much pushing us down into those low. Do you know David Hawkins? The power versus force, that scale.
Yeah.
Anyway, I talk about that in the book too because his research is really interesting. But I'm just like, what can we do to go up here instead of being forced down to this level?
Hmm.
And I would love to see a wish circle on, I would love to see the media being more peaceful, positive, and purposeful,
Oh,
right?
that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just and what you might be able to start seeing over 8 weeks might be so cool. There might be really some elevation in that regard.
Okay.
Um, so
So if you're participating in a group, is this like once a week we log in and do like a Zoom meeting, or is it just a practice that everybody does individually? How does this work?
that would, I mean, it depends on how, because some people might have just a newsletter they send out.
Okay.
Some people may have social media that they're tweeting or TikToking or
Hmm.
Instagram or whatever. Some might do a Zoom for their group. That would be the best, right? That we feel
Yeah.
like at least once a week, and you can do the activity together. Although there's a video on how to do the activity, and they're all really like one of them is a word search, and it's using looking at the words in reverse. So
Hmm.
you're kind of having to think and then pick the words and then apply the words that you found to your wish. I mean, like we're not talking about complex things, but there's a way to kind of keep like, oh, if I just found this word and I found these three words and they're love, adventure, and peace, and now how do I apply that to my wish? It's hopefully gonna, add another dimension to your wish, right? But they're
Yeah.
simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can it's pretty intuitive on your own. The community and the ritual is important to decide what everybody's going to wish on together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, let's say you pick a time of day, like right now it's 1:40. And if you say 1:40, then you can imagine like all of your wish circle is wishing the same wish at the same time.
Oh, that's powerful.
I mean, that's like cool stuff.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I just, it's an experiment. It's the best I know to offer the world. But I just think that could be so freaking powerful.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're all connected. We're all, um, we're all one in my mind. We're all one that gets manifested into this physical form, but we're still one in concept.
right.
And being able to come together and put more energy into an idea or a thought or definitely a wish, then we're raising the energy. We're bringing up that vibration for that wish to happen. And
That's
that's
that. Thank you. That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping for is to
excellent.
see all of that come together and just feel the power of that. Because as I said, I mean, collective wishing rituals have gotten us through difficult times throughout
Mhm.
our history as humanity.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we have that anymore. And just the word wish is a meditation on its own. I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
wish. I mean, like it's a beautiful word,
Yeah. I
you
was just
know?
thinking meditation when you said it, so that was interesting in itself.
Yeah,
Um,
see, that's when the mirror neurons, that's when you're supporting each other,
yeah.
right? Like I'm in
Yeah.
the process of writing a children's book, and I have these children, these scenes in the book where somebody's making a wish and then they make it a cosmic wish, uh, you know. And there's one scene where a little boy is standing in front of a mirror, and I want wish to be a superhero, and then he turns it and they add the science to it, and then he's like, I want wish to be a superhero so I can help other people, and then in the mirror reflection are all these people supporting him.
Oh, nice.
It's so cool. Right,
Yeah.
but that's what happens is the mirror neurons start connecting, like, okay, how can we help each other? What kind of ideas can we have? Can we write a letter to Putin to bring
Yeah.
peace in Ukraine? I mean, what would he do if he got a million letters?
That would be interesting. Yeah.
you
What
know
would he do? Yeah.
what would he do? I mean, what is possible? We don't know,
I
you know?
agree. I agree. I often talk about the experiment that happened. I think it was in the 70s, might have been 80s, when I think it was 4,000 TM meditators got together in Washington, D.C., meditated together for a month with the goal or the wish of lowering the crime rate, the violent crime rate in Washington, D.C. by 20%.
Yeah.
And people scoffed at it. The
I talk
police,
about that in the book.
oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Well, it's important. Yeah. The 1% solution, the Maharishi. Yeah. I mean, that
Yes.
was really an important concept. And my only downside of that is that they charge you so much to learn TM. Like, that's
I
got to
know
count for
why. Get
That's why I
everybody
want
doing
this
it. Do
to
it for
be
free.
free, right? I
Right.
want this all, I mean, everything in this is free. I mean, like I
Yes.
said, the book, you can buy the book, it's optional. If you want a teddy bear with the logo on it, then, that's a little optional. But really, I want to, let's make it free. Let's
Hmm.
all do this together.
Yeah.
But yes, the collective, and just think of what we could do in all these different areas. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't
Eh,
know. I don't have all the
Yeah.
answers. I have a lot of questions though.
Yeah. But if we're all getting like-minded and um, getting aligned, getting the vibration connected to where we're all kind of wishing for that same thing, better health, world peace, love and all these great things. I mean, that has to raise the vibration. I mean, it has to take us more upstairs than downstairs, right?
Right, and it at least for me, just working on this as elevate. I mean, because I do
Hmm.
pay attention to what all of the stuff that's happening, and it's easy to get brought down to this, like, this level between anger and despair, right? And just working on this personally has just I just feel so much more elevated and so much
Yeah.
more hopeful in this possibility. And I feel empowered to offer this, and this isn't about me. I mean, for the wish circle leaders, if let's say they're teaching um you know body health, and that's their side gig, right?
Hmm.
Or I like to use Simon Sinek as an example. He's all about the why, if you know his book.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
It's mostly about business, but it's about understanding your why as a company,
Okay.
and your why as a person. I'm saying, how do you turn that message into a movement? Well, you turn it into a wish that everybody can wish. So it's like over the next 8 weeks, I wish for everyone to recognize and embody their why.
Mm,
And then
okay.
he could layer on other lessons within that week. So you can do a Zoom every week and throw something else in there too. Like there's no reason you can't layer it. It's not about, I'm just giving the framework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not, I'm not giving the message, I'm giving the framework for people
Yeah.
with people messages like you and these people who really want to make a difference, to let them give them something to work within.
Mhm. Since you brought up the business aspect, so if somebody wants to start a wish group, but at the same time, they want to wish everybody's going to meditate every day, and so they start this wish group, and then they're secretly, not secretly, but they are implementing like meditation classes, like, oh, I want everybody to meditate, but here's my meditation class. You can come and pay for classes, and I'll teach you how to meditate. Is that part of this? I mean, can people use their like that side business, of health or beauty or whatever, incremented with the wish so that they're drawing
That's a
people into their business?
That's a great question. Ideally, in my perfect world,
Hmm.
is that the wish would be related to something like, I wish for everyone in this wish circle to understand and practice meditation every day,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then they could offer little classes or lessons on top of it.
Okay.
Um, they they can charge for however they want on top of that. The wish
Okay.
circle itself is all free, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I would prefer if they made it optional, just like I'm making it optional. You can buy my book or not. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. I
Right.
mean, I appreciate it, so I'm not going to go, oh, don't, but
Yeah.
that's not required.
Okay.
That's just an add-on, right? And so I
Yeah.
would like them to say, this is what we want to do, and have people do that. And then they could add some sort of lesson on top of it. And if somebody says, I really need help, I don't know how to meditate, and this person says, well, I've got a solution for this, whatever, then
Yeah.
great. Or maybe they say after the 8 weeks, um, then you can join my meditation class or whatever. So I wouldn't have
Okay.
a problem with that, as long as the wish itself wasn't, I wish to build my meditation practice by 30% and make this much money.
Hmm.
That's not peaceful, positive, and purposeful, really, in the vein
Yeah.
of what the wish, um, cosmic wish experiment's about. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
It does. Yeah. I could just, yeah, I mean, everybody's right now, it seems like on social medias has an angle and they all
Yeah,
want you to get hooked on something and then they want to sell you something, you know?
right.
And I love that you're not doing that. You're putting it out there for everybody to benefit from for free, which is
Yes.
beautiful. But I can just imagine people going, coming up with an angle. Oh, I want to promote, vegetarianism or eating raw food, and I'm going to get people into the wishing that that happens, and then I'm going to sell vegetarian or raw recipes.
Yeah, and I guess again, as long as everybody's wishing for that, the wish is worded in a way that benefits the people, whether they buy the program or not, that the
Hmm.
person's selling. I'm okay with that. Like I said, if
Okay.
Simon Sinek said start with why, and he has a class on really understanding your why, that's fine. Or if he wants to layer the lesson, going, okay, this week we're going to talk about the why for our body. Next week we're going to talk about the why for this.
Hmm.
Um, uh, then I mean, I don't begrudge people for having a source of income that they're
Sure.
doing. It just helps that if they made it optional within the wish circle, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
the wish circle and the wish will come from their purpose, which
Hmm.
is how they came up with what they're doing for a living anyway,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. If they're into vegetarianism, they're into that for a reason. That's the wish,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
And it's
Um,
okay to have that side angle where, here's, you
yeah,
can,
and I've got a way to do it, and here's a way to do it. That's
yeah,
fine if they want to add
okay,
that.
great.
Yeah, because I mean, I want to bring in influencers that have that kind of message and want to turn their message into a movement. And
Hmm.
if they get coaching on the side for that or whatever that is, that's fine.
Okay.
You know,
Wonderful.
if it gets the elevated wish out there, then I think it's good. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's a good approach?
Yeah, yeah, and you're moderating it, which I think is great because you're kind of screening the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful approach. I think that opens it up to more people that um, want the wish, but also want that income, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, they got a message they also want to get out there. I mean, I've mentioned books I've written,
Yeah,
I'm promoting this, it's free. And if they want to buy them and they go, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I'd
yeah,
appreciate it, but and it would be lovely if they, but only if they really wanted to do that, because you don't need to, right?
right.
All the
Yeah.
stuff is there without it.
Hmm.
And all of that. You can't change the world if I'm going to charge for it. I mean, that just didn't make sense to me.
I agree.
So, I mean, it's cost me, quite a bit of money to get it already with all the stuff that goes into it, as you can probably imagine. But that's
Oh yeah.
okay. That was my contribution, and a lot of time.
I get it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
doing podcasts, I've had other people reach out to me about podcasting. Everybody thinks you're going to make money from podcasting. I was like, no, probably not, but if it's something you love and you're helping others and you're also getting something in return, you might not need to make money from it. It can be a beautiful
Right.
thing without, financial incentives.
That's right. That's right. And if someday you say, okay, I do have this thing, I've had this podcast, and hey guys, I just wrote this book, or I want this thing, or I want you to hear this message, then I don't think that's a problem either. You know,
Hmm.
it's I think it has come as I'm sure Dispenza would have something to say about intention,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
where's your intention coming from? So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you like to think a
Yeah.
healer comes from, like, you had a healer on your show, and
Hmm.
more than one, right? And the
Oh
healer
yeah.
comes from the fact that they have a healing practice and they want to heal people.
Hmm.
That's great. Their wish could be, I wish people could embody their health. And if they say, and I've got a technique to help with that, great, but that's not the only way to accomplish that wish. Works for me.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about making circles and connections in my mind.
Yeah.
Um, I opened up a yoga studio in Southgate, Michigan back in, was it 2002? 90, I'm not a good historian of time and dates and that kind of thing. But anyway, when I opened up this yoga studio, at first, I just wanted to promote yoga and get people to do yoga. But I didn't realize all the connections that would be made. Different healers came in, massage therapists came in, and nutritionists, and all these people all started to connect with each other. And next thing I know, it's a depot for once a week. People are bringing in raw dairy and providing raw dairy to people. I mean, so many things happen that were just connections being made that changed the world without even the yoga practice, just the connections. It was a beautiful
Right,
thing.
right. That's it. And so we build on each other and elevate each other. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it's raising up the consciousness, raising up and elevating people's health in the community. It's just beautiful. So
Yeah. Yeah.
kudos
So,
to you for doing this. I love that you're doing it.
well,
So
thanks.
you
It's
have
my
remind
best
me again.
answer to what's going on.
Yeah,
You know,
remind me again the title of your first book.
my first book is called Five Reasons Why Bad Things Happen: How to Turn
Okay.
Tragedies into Triumph.
All right.
So that was many, many years ago. But it's funny because, it feels like all the books I've written and all the things I've done have kind of led to this whole project. Like, the whole section in the Art and Science of Wishing about the three selves really harkens back to what I wrote about the subconscious sabotage, that I
Yeah.
wrote about in that first book.
Yeah.
And then, all these elements, and I weave in storytelling into the book. Like, okay, here's a story that gives you an
Hmm.
example. And so I kind of weave it all together.
Yeah. I think that topic's so important because I think so many people, me included at times, have had self-sabotage because of the subconscious thoughts. And you mentioned some practices earlier, which sounded to me a lot like mindfulness, just becoming mindful. And the more mindful we become, the more we become aware of those subconscious thoughts. And the more you become aware of the subconscious thoughts, then you have the opportunity to change them. Because they won't just change or go away. You have to physically replace those negative or defeating thoughts with other thoughts. You know, I read
Yeah.
something a long time ago. In fact, I have a podcast out on it, a little mini podcast about positive thoughts. So if you're thinking one way, those thoughts are kind of getting um, put together in a column. And your brain, sees that and it emphasizes those thoughts over and over. So those self-sabotaging thoughts are growing and growing. But if you start replacing every time you get the self-sabotaging thought, you replace it with a non-self-sabotaging thought, like uh, probably bad. Like I'm stupid, just to pick an easy one. I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid. I say it all, oh God, I'm so dumb, and blah, 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 blah. That's building up. But every time you have that thought, or you notice it in your subconscious, if you say, no, I'm smart, I'm smart, I'm smart, I'm smart. I always say it 3 or 4 times every time you notice the negative one, the self-sabotaging one,
Yeah.
replace it with the opposite and say it more times. So that column builds higher than this column. And then your brain recognizes this column over that column, and it will align with, no, I'm not stupid. I'm smart. I'm, masterful. I can do all these things. So I
Yeah,
think it's
well,
so
that's
important.
that's why, I mentioned the three P's. The first one's peaceful, right? That's physiological response, get calm, making sure that your wish is from that energy.
Hmm.
And there's a cute little example in the children's book on that one too. And then the second one is positive. So there's really interesting science, exactly what you're talking about in terms of wishing for something, not against something else.
Yeah.
Right. So, like I have in the children's book, the example for that, I have this kind of teenage girl and her little sister's trying to get her attention. Um, and she's like, I wish my sister would stop bugging me. I'm too busy, and she changes her wish, adds the science of these sciences in there, and she it changes the wish to I wish I had more time to spend with my sister, and then you see them playing together, right? So it's a
Yeah.
reframing of that exact thing. How do you take it? Like even if you said I'm not smart or I'm stupid or something, it'd be like I want to learn more about this. So how do you turn that into something positive? Saying, okay, if I don't know enough about science, then go try to pretend like you do and write a book about it. That's how you kind of reframe that into something positive. So the peaceful, positive, and then purposeful is when you start bringing in the higher self, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
right. So it all kind of weaves together. This
Hmm.
this weaving. But yeah, exactly. It's the positive is really important.
Yeah. Yes. I've really loved this conversation. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners and viewers today before we go?
But just, I'm the only Brownell Landrum in the world, so it's pretty easy to
Mhm.
find me.
You
And
are easy to find.
yeah, there aren't many of us. There aren't even that many Brownells, I don't think, with the first name. So just check out the Cosmic Wish Experiment. Feel free to reach out. I'm not as active on TikTok and Instagram as I'm going to be, so please help me follow me there because I want to
Okay.
I want to get more followers.
Is it under
Um,
Brownell Landrum to follow
yeah,
you?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
everything, every social media, Facebook, I have an author page. So that's the best one to follow me there. Yeah, and I've got a YouTube channel, so which I'm sure we'll take this and put that up there too. So
Excellent.
that'll be fun.
All right. Well, I will definitely subscribe to all your channels.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. You
Thank
have a
you.
have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.